Football Friday in the doghouse. There's always lots of football to talk about. Wait a minute, just because it's Football Friday, the SEC announced the Media Day schedule? What? Because it's Football Friday! Oh, we're going to Atlanta this year, July 18th to the 21st. Tuesday, things will open up with Nick Saban, then Mike Leach, Shane Beamer, and Clark Lee. Brian Harsin will close things down with Josh Heupel and Jimbo Fisher on Thursday. The show will open with Brian Kelly, followed by Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz. Always great football. Bring it home! That's the way you start a Friday in a doghouse. Your phone lines are open. Feel free to jump in, 256-576-4977. Your station's Twitter feed is at 97.7 ESPN. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. We are on the Twitch and the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN, where you can watch the show as well. And our YouTube channel is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Like and subscribe there. Go to 97.7ESPN.com. Get links to all of that. And while you're at it, get the app. At the app, you can find the links to Zone 2 and Zone 3 and Zone 4 and all our alternate streaming channels for all that great programming that we have. Now, coming up in a few minutes, Teresa Walker is going to join us from the AP in Nash Vegas, where they are talking about building a new stadium up there now. Remember when she was in last week, they were talking about the $600 million renovation to the stadium, to Nissan Stadium? Well, they came back and they said, well, it'd be $600 million or maybe over $1 billion. What? I mean, I wish I could get those kind of estimates when I estimate it for somebody. Well, $600 million, but a Titan spokesman said that the cost could not double. Could be $1.2 billion. Could be $600 million. Who knows? Price of lumber and everything. Cost of gasoline will be $10 a gallon by then. Got to ship all the stuff there. If they'd have built this thing like 3 years ago, when we were under control and, we were energy independent and, the economy was bustling. If we had done it then maybe they could have built the thing for $600 million. But now, who knows? $3 billion. So the thought is that maybe they just build a whole new stadium. Should they just go ahead and build a whole new stadium? And they're playing hockey there tomorrow night at Nissan Stadium. At the top of the 11, Brent Sobolewski is back from the Bleacher Report. Sobo is deep into the draft right now. The NFL one, not the USFL one. The NFL draft. Next week is the Combine in Indy. So who could surprise and make a big move? And who's the top offensive tackle in this draft? Is it Evan Neal from Alabama, or is it Ikem Ekwonu from NC State? Who's the best edge rusher? Is it Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson, or is it Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon? And what about this loaded wide receiver class? Is Jamison Williams the second, third, fourth best receiver? It's all over the lot. I mean, you got a bunch of, you got the Wilson kid, you got two from Ohio State, Olave and Wilson, that are both first-round receivers. How the hell did they not make the tournament? Oh, that's right, because of Michigan and Aiden Hutchinson. And are any of these quarterbacks any good? I mean, is there even a first-round running back in this class? We'll get all of that with Sobo. We'll also get his take on the USFL draft, the deal the XFL made with the NFL to act as a sort of petri dish for the NFL ideas. Does this give the X the inside track on legitimacy? Will either league do a deal for players? And look, with or without a formal alliance with the NFL to develop talent, that's exactly what both leagues are doing. No? Right? I mean, that you don't have to necessarily that's exactly what's going on. We're getting camp cuts in these leagues and guys that have had 1 or 2 years in the NFL and guys that are looking to come up and get noticed. Does the NFL have to actually supply personnel? It would be nice. It would be nice. But is it necessary? I don't know. Remember, Bruno Reagan told us on Tuesday. Bruno was drafted by the Tampa Bay Bandits. He told us on Tuesday he just loves the game. I mean, he's been in camp with a couple of NFL teams already. He was the center. He started 40 straight games for Vanderbilt. But he just loves the game. He's going to get paid around $50,000 for 3 months' work, depending on how good his team is. $50,000 to $55,000. And if he gets noticed, so be it. They'll go to camp coming up in about 2 weeks or so. They'll have 5 weeks of camp, which is plenty. And then they'll start playing. You know, you got two kind of guys. You got him, just going to make $50,000 for 3 months and love to play the game. And then you got these smaller school guys and other guys who fell between the cracks, and they're looking for a shot. Speaking of looking for a shot, there were 14 quarterbacks drafted in the top 5 in the 10-year window of NFL drafts between 2009 and 2018. So in a 10-year window, these are the guys that should be, from the time Matt Stafford was selected as the number 1 pick overall in 2009, for 10 years, there were 14 quarterbacks that were top 5 quarterbacks. Do you know that there's only one of those quarterbacks that's still with their original team, the team that drafted? One! Baker, by God, Mayfield. Who knows when the season starts if that'll be the case. And Matt Stafford, the one I just said was picked number 1 by the Lions in 2019, he is now the only one to win a championship. Well, I mean, I guess Carson Wentz got a ring with the Eagles, but that was Nick Foles that took them to that championship. Carson Wentz was on that team, you know. Most of the quarterbacks that are selected in the first round are reaches because teams are desperate. They're desperate. You need a quarterback. You're trying to hit on one. Desperate. This year, somebody is going to reach for Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis or Sam Howell or my favorite in the draft, Matt Corral. But I'm not sure any of these guys are really even first rounders. It's just that's who's available. I think that the quarterback madness will likely begin around 9 with Denver. If not 9 with Denver, 11 with Washington, honestly. But I'm going to say this about that. The Lions at 2 need a quarterback. I mean, Jared Goff, I don't think is going to be the guy. The Texans, where are they? 4? They need a quarterback. Because who knows what the heck's going on. No, they're 3. They need a quarterback. Who knows what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? Here they thought they had the guy for the next 10 years. Will he play for Lovie Smith? Don't know. The Panthers at 6. They've got a washed-up Cam Newton and a washed-up Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's a has-been that never was. They need a quarterback. Look, at 8. Let's be honest. At 8, if there were good quarterback, if there were top-notch quarterbacks in this draft, you don't think the Falcons at 8 are looking quarterback? The Falcons need a quarterback, probably. Would they? Well, I guess they got, what? The Felipe Franks. Oh, they're good. They got Felipe Franks behind Matt Ryan. Who knows? They might have Baker Mayfield when they trade Matt Ryan to Cleveland. But really, if it was a different year, maybe the Falcons are. So there's 4 teams in the top 10 picks. There's 4 teams in the top 8 picks that need quarterbacks. They aren't picking. I don't think they're picking quarterbacks. Over there in a little glass room with the slanted ceiling, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones and stoked for the playoffs. I think he's wearing a Trash Pandas hat today, maybe. I don't know. Yep, Trash Pandas. He's channeling baseball. The minor leaguers they're in camp. He's channeling some baseball. Living large on a Friday, it's Coach Grizz.
In the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together on a stick polish.
Brilliant! I've got $100 smoking in my billfold. I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole. Right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and let the time roll.
Someone call someone because there's a cleanup on aisle 3 as a man is down.
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's not St. Patty's Day, so that's a different day entirely.
Yeah, Grizzlicious. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
What is today? The February the 25th.
Yeah.
So right as the show was opening, I mean, like moments before the show opened.
Yeah.
Into music, Chuck Dunlap of the SEC, the email shows up in the email inbox, and then in my text window from Molten too. SEC announces appearance schedule for 2022 Football Media Days. I think this is the earliest ever. It gets earlier and earlier and earlier. I always say, well, now usually it's like during spring ball or something. Well, now you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, people. No. I mean, I can't believe that they've already announced the SEC appearance schedule for the Media Days in 2022 Media Days.
Yeah, no, it seems like football is year-round. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just seems like people can't get enough of it. But, no, I'm wearing all baseball gear. I'm wearing all baseball gear right now because I am hoping for some kind of resolution by Monday.
Yeah, Monday!
I would love something by today. I mean, I still think that, I think the Atlanta Braves are still reigning, Major League champs. So,
yeah, well, they will be all the way until the end. Now, the thing is that baseball, Major League Baseball management put in this deadline of Monday. They're like, if we don't have a Monday, and the reason you might ask, well, you might not ask, but you might ask, you might say, why Monday? Why is the deadline Monday when the season doesn't start until March 31st? Well, they say that their experience with the pandemic a couple of years ago when they had to shut it down in spring training and then came back in the summer, they say that it takes 4 weeks. In their opinion, you got to have 4 full weeks of spring training to be ready to go. And so what they're saying is that if they have a deal by Monday, then they can have the players in camp by March 4th, March 5th, and they'll be ready to go. So here's my question.
Yeah.
And this is really about pitchers. I think field players, 2 weeks. Give them 8 or 9 games, 2 weeks. They're ready. They're get in the boot, get in the cage, so watch, get some BP, and they're ready to go. I mean, by the time you get to the end of spring training, they can play a game. This is about getting the pitchers ready. So here's my thought on that. This would be a magnanimous gesture to the fans of baseball and to the negotiating process. Why can't the management and the MLBPA, why can't they get together and say, you know what? We're in the midst of negotiations. We're trying to get this done. We want to start the season on time. May take into next week a little bit, but guess what? We're going to open up the gates. Pitchers and catchers, go ahead and report. Young players, go ahead and report. Let's start working out. We're not going to play any spring games, but let's start simulating games, pitching, loosening up those arms, doing all of that stuff so that we can hit the ground running when we get an agreement. Why can't we do something like that?
Because it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Because it makes sense.
It just makes sense.
It just seems like both sides are just babies fighting over, the littlest things, and it's just ruining the sport.
It seems like sometimes the simplest things.
Yeah.
That in all of them. I give you another. I'll just tell you. I don't want to get political. But
no, not on this show, this station.
No. I don't want to get political. But everybody's talking about how do you put the pressure on the Russians, right? How do you put the pressure on the Russians? You can't just. I saw a tweet. It was pretty funny. It was like Joe Biden cut off Russians' access to the Disney Channel or something like that. You know what I mean? The streaming.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Joe Biden cut off the Russian access to Disney Plus. Come on. All of these things are meaningless. All of these little things that they're doing are meaningless. Here's the thing. The only thing they got, the Russians, is energy and oil, natural gas, right? That's what they got. They got that. And they've got all these countries in Europe and us that are dependent on them for their oil and their natural gas, right? So what did we do? When Biden came in, what they did was they turned off the spigots in the United States, right? We cut off all of our energy production in the United States. We turned off our own spigots, and now we're dependent.
Yeah.
So here's an idea. Turn the damn spigots back on, okay?
Yeah.
And then call Germany and call Europe and call China, and call us. I just paid $357 yesterday. Call everybody and say, hey, we are in the energy business again. You can buy from us. Don't buy from the Russians. Buy from us. That will put this. That's the only thing that would put this. It makes sense. Buy from us. Turn the spigots back on. Buy from us. It's the same thing with baseball. Send the players into camp, at least the pitchers and the catchers. Send them into camp. Let them start getting ready. You can always close camp down and send them home if you reach an impasse. But right now we're negotiating. While we're negotiating, so that we can be ready for March 31st, we are going to open up spring training. Why not?
Makes sense. I mean, the thing is like they're hitting year round. So like I get what you're saying with just the regular players. It shouldn't take them that long to get in shape and to be ready. And they're hitting, working out all year. They're ready. I mean, these players are ready. It just seems like
players,
like I said,
the pitchers need to start. Even the pitchers are pretty ready, right? Even the pitchers are kind of ready.
I mean, I'm watching. I guess. I mean, you catch it every now and then on social media. You can see some of the guys, around the league. They're, pitching right now. I mean, while this is going on,
sure
waiting on it. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're constantly. That they're constantly working. So, it shouldn't take them long to get ready. They're professional athletes. I mean, it shouldn't take them long to get ready.
All right, I got lots of little stuff on my desk that I want to get to, and we'll see how much of it we get to as well. There was a ridiculous article written by the LA Times about how the failure of the college football playoff to expand is a black mark on the SEC. How the SEC is the big loser in the failure to expand. How the SEC couldn't bully its way to victory in getting as if Greg Sankey in the SEC gives a rat's ass about expansion. As if the SEC wanted expansion so that they could have, 5 teams in the playoff? The SEC, Greg Sankey came on this radio show and came on this radio station and has said, we're fine with 4. We always get 1 and sometimes get 2. 50% of the playoff is the SEC. Twice in this thing, they've already had 2 SEC teams in the championship game. But these menses out there at the LA Times, they think that somehow this is a loss for the SEC. I may or may not get to that. We'll see. I got lots of I got so much crap on my desk. We'll see if we'll get to this stuff or not. All right, when we come back, Teresa Walker joins us from the AP in Nashville. Talk to her next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's two locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Get your Ford your way today. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends February 28th. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Morning rain showers will give way to just a little bit of sunshine through the course of the afternoon. Temperatures are going to be a little cooler. Highs only hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the low and mid 30s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy to overcast sky for the first half of your weekend. Scattered showers across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. Only dropping into the upper 30s and lower 40s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy sky for your Sunday. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 50s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Leaving his mark on sports talk radio with a paddle.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Join West Neighbors weekday afternoons on The Drive, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Great time to get a bunch of work done. It's going to be nice weather over the weekend. And if you head down to Valley Equipment Rental and rent this afternoon, you get to keep that piece of equipment all the way until Monday morning. They're not coming in on Sunday for you, right, to bring it back. So you get to keep it all the way through Monday morning, and you get a lot of work done this weekend. You get 2 days basically for the price of one. So you get it this afternoon after 3 o'clock. After work, maybe you get a little bit of work done then. And then you got all day tomorrow to work. Sunday morning, you go to church, you come back. Sunday afternoon, do a little bit more work. Bring the piece of equipment back on Monday. It makes great sense. They're on the South Parkway. Check them out down there. Whatever you need, they've got. They got more skid steers, lifts, and excavators than anybody in the Tennessee Valley. And don't forget, got that second location coming soon in April up there on the North Parkway, north of Winchester Road. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline is Teresa Walker from the AP in Nashville. T-Dub, welcome in. How are you?
I am good. How are you, Tom?
I'm great. Were you in attendance last night with that record crowd, nearly 18,000 people at the Bridgestone Arena to see Pecorine get his number retired and an exciting shootout win for the Preds?
Well, of course I would be, and was. I mean, where else would I be? I mean,
yeah,
that's cool. History. The first number ever retired by that franchise for the goalie who did so much. Pecorine led them to their first ever playoff series victory in 2011. He was the guy who led them to their first sweep of Chicago in the postseason and on to the Stanley Cup final in 2017. President's Trophy in 2018 and Vezina Trophy winner. So, yeah, and of course he was going to be the guy to add that latest first to be the first number raised to the rafters. So it was quite a day Thursday, and, a moment for the Predators to enjoy and celebrate the greatest player in franchise history to date.
Yeah, and Juuse Saros standing on his head in the shootout. I thought that was kind of fitting. Another Finnish goalie doing that. A Finnish guy getting the game winner in the shootout as well. So for their fellow countrymen. But I thought I thought the effort was great last night in that game. It would be easy to kind of be peeking ahead to tomorrow night, but they stayed focused and got 2 critical points.
Oh, absolutely, Tom. And that's the thing. It was a showdown between 2 young goalies, and it was interesting after the game. The Stars goalie, Jake Ottinger, talked about how he grew up idolizing and watching Pecorine as a goalie. That's the kind of guy he wanted to be like, and mentioned that he was real lucky to get a stick from Pecorine last year. So and perfectly enough, it was a 1-1 game where the goalies were making lots of great saves. It just turned out that Saros was the guy who made one more save in the shootout to get the win, and it was kind of the perfect way to finish. Pekka last start was a 5-0 shutout to wrap up the season last May, and then the night that his jersey's retired, Saros comes in, a guy who is putting together his own case to win the Vezina Trophy this year, and he puts together a shootout win where he gave up only 1 goal. And I think he made 27 saves last night. So, yeah, it was a Pekka-like performance in that, Saros has certainly shown that, he's the guy to take on and be his successor in net for the Predators.
And the other thing about Rene is that he's such a great guy, such a great human being. I remember the first time I had him in studio. I mean, he would come by the studio sometimes when he was a very young player. He would come in, and we would do like a 3-minute bit about how to say his name. We would have everybody come in with all these different ways of saying his name before anybody knew how to say his name. And, he's just such a great guy, and he was a tremendous ambassador. You couldn't have a better human being, be that guy, the first guy to get his number retired. And dare I say, will he be the first NHL Hall of Famer from the Nashville Predators?
When you look at where he stacks up among goaltenders in his career, it's fair to say that he absolutely could be in the Hall of Fame one day. I mean, his production, he is the top goalie from Finland ever to play in the NHL. And then you look at where he ranks, in terms of shutouts, he was like 19th, and wins, he was 19th. I mean, he's up there in so many categories, and he certainly seems to have put together quite a resume. Now, he may have to wait a little bit longer for that than he had to wait. I mean, let's face it, he retired last July. The Predators announced in November they were retiring his jersey, and they raised it up to the rafters on February 24th. So any Hall of Fame consideration will probably take a little bit longer. You may have to be patient for that.
Yeah, hockey ones though they move them a little bit quicker sometimes, certainly. And if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I thought that 6 would have been the first number retired. I thought Shea Weber was going to be that guy. I never saw the trade coming, and of course he ends up getting traded. But if he ends up playing his whole career, in Nashville like Pex did, then the 6 probably would have been the number that would have been retired first. That would have been my first guess.
Well, but that's the thing. He was traded away, and, he wasn't here when this team went to a Stanley Cup final. Yeah. So, it was TK Subban who was on the roster instead. So, right. And that's a big deciding factor. And, Joe Rexrod with The Athletic, he has a column, and I haven't read it yet, but he points out, can't talk this morning, a couple of other Predators who are probably going to maybe be the guys who have the next candidacy to have their numbers retired. And the guys, Philip Forsberg, particularly if we get past the trade deadline and David Poile manages to sign him to an extension, keeping him here. But then the current captain, Roman Josi, I mean, that's a guy who he's a Norris Trophy winner, and he's putting together, candidacy to win that again this season. So those two guys have certainly taken the mantle of leadership for this franchise from Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about all of that. Teresa Walker with us here. All right, and tomorrow night's that's gonna be something. That's gonna be a sight to behold for sure. As Nissan Stadium has been converted to an outdoor hockey rink. And it seems like hopefully the rain is going to hold off. We talked with Greg Wyshynski a couple of days ago, or yesterday maybe it was, and he said that's the only thing that would stop an outdoor game, that and sun glare. I don't think we're going to have sun glare, and of course the game is later on in the day. I think they dropped the puck around 6:30 or so that issue is off the table. But hopefully the rain holds off. It's going to be cold, but hopefully the rain holds off.
Well, the rain stopped here, 3 to 4 this morning. Right now it's 34 outside and feels like 27, and it looks like it's going to be cloudy all day now, and sun might peak out later today. Now tomorrow it is going to get up to 45, but it's going to be cloud cover, so that's a good thing. We talked to the guy who's in charge for the NHL of getting this ice set and in good shape, and a lesson they learned from Dallas, the outdoor game, the Winter Classic that the Predators played in last year, on how to paint the white, like a half-inch lower, like a half-inch, they went ahead and painted the white, put another half-inch of ice on top of it. So, and they were squeegeeing off all the rain on Tuesday when it was just coming down in buckets. Figure that they did that again Thursday when we had we had more rain. But, thankfully it was, Thursday, as much rain as we did get, it didn't feel like the washout that we certainly had on Tuesday when, I was going to the Vanderbilt Alabama game on Tuesday night. My car slid like 3 times because there was so much water just ponding on the road. So The fact that it's not going to be bright and sunny tomorrow absolutely helps. And yeah, it'll be about an hour after sunset that they drop the puck tomorrow night, so that should help as well.
All right, to the stadium itself. The last time we talked, which was just a week or so ago, we were talking about the $600 million renovation of the stadium and, and what that could mean and what it might look like and so on and so forth. And within a day or two after that came the announcement that, well, maybe there's a little bit more work that has to be done than what we thought. And the statement from the team was really startling, to be honest with you. It said the stadium structural frame was built with concrete and needs to be largely replaced with steel, which, by the way, makes you wonder if you're one of those fans that goes there and goes and sits in the upper deck and stuff like that. You're wondering, what are you telling me? I mean, is there a problem? I mean, what are you telling? Is there a crack? What are you telling me? It went on to say the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical systems need to be completely replaced. The window system throughout the building is so antiquated that they're not even manufactured anymore. All of these new revelations are adding up to moving a renovation price to nearly double what they initially anticipated, which, by the way, is $1.2 billion then, if that's the case. So now they're thinking that, wait a minute, maybe it makes sense to go ahead and build a whole new stadium. That was kind of a startling revelation.
Well, it was startling, but Tom, I know you're doing some renovations at your place.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Anyone who's ever done renovations, you're like, I'm going to upgrade my kitchen. I'm going to upgrade my bathroom. I'm going to do tile this. I'm going to do that, do this. And unfortunately, then you get the contractor in. You've got your little budget. You picked out your tiles, and then you bring in your contractor, and then they pull back that countertop, and it's like, your floors are rotted. You've got a busted pipe back here. And that feels like what's happened here, and hat tip to Nate Rao of Axios Nashville, who had the break last week on this. But, that's the thing. That's what happened. I covered the whole, bring this team to Nashville, yes, Nashville campaign, and this stadium was built on the cheap. This was get
14 months.
The stadium, get this.
They built it in 14 months.
$292 million.
Yeah, 14 months. It almost taken me 14 months to do the kitchen. I did it 14 months. They built the stadium.
Exactly. And, there was a tornado that hit it and knocked some of the cranes over that one time. But, this was not a stadium that was built or designed with all the bells and whistles. It was, let's build a stadium that can host an NFL team. Yay, let's go. And, that $292 million, that included some of the, that wasn't all in the stadium itself. It was the roads and things right around it, change some things. So, that, and then you look at the price tags of stadiums today and it almost seems quaint. Granted, it's been, 23 years since they opened that place, but that's the thing. The bill came in higher and it's like, well, when it's that much to fix that building, it just makes sense to see, okay, if we're going to spend $1.2 billion with a B to get it up to, current standards, then, how much more would it cost to just do a brand new place? Because guess what? Then yes, it's a lot more now, but, it's $300 million more than what you'd spend to fix this place up. That's where every husband starts dreading writing the check, because it does make sense to just go ahead and spend more money to do it right the first time.
I mean, think about it this way. When this stadium was being built, I believe Turner Field was being built about the same time, and now the Braves are playing, of course, in Truist Park. This stadium opened about 4 or 5 years, about 5 years or so after the Georgia Dome opened. That thing's on the ground and is a parking lot now. And, and it's been 3 years since they opened the new stadium in Atlanta. So it's not unprecedented in these days, especially when it was built the way that it was built. But, man, anything like this now, I mean, we're looking at least 5 years out, right? I mean, it takes them a couple of years to build these things, and it would be a $3 billion project. Now, if it was a retractable, and that was what I would do, I mean, I would absolutely go retractable. I'd leave it open for 90% of the season, but have a retractable so I could do the Final Four there, and so that I could do a cold weather Super Bowl there if the weather wasn't good enough to leave the roof open. But if it was a retractable, this becomes a Super Bowl town. This becomes a national championship town. This becomes a Final Four town.
Absolutely, Tom. And here's the thing. The college football playoff had asked Nashville to bid to host one of the semifinals, with the current stadium. And so you get, depending on what they end up designing and deciding on, if there's any kind of roof or coverage, then that opens them up to all these other things. And again, the location, presuming it's somewhere, you can't, I don't know if they would blow up Nissan Stadium, build it there, build it, right next door. The Nashville Stars group, which is trying to bring a Major League Baseball team to town, they had a projection and had some pictures of a baseball stadium to the right of Nissan Stadium as you look at it from downtown Nashville across the river. Well, maybe they build a new one right next door and then level the Nissan Stadium to do whatever they need to do there. So I'm curious to see what they come up with, but that's the thing. Nashville has already shown 2019 that they can host one, all the big parties you would want with the NFL draft. Oh yeah, the 2016 NHL All-Star game tomorrow night with the Stadium Series game, where they've got over 15 different artists performing in a day-long party outside, before they drop the puck. So, Nashville, has proven over the decades they know how to throw parties, and with that kind of world-class type stadium that could potentially be on the table here, then that puts them in the mix for so many other things. And yes, you look around downtown and see all the hotels that are built. That used to be the thing. Well, Nashville doesn't have enough hotels. No. That excuse is gone, and Nashville is poised. I mean, let's not forget, when they announced the World Cup cities to host the 26th World Cup, Nashville's bid is right in there for that. And I'll admit, I've been expecting Nashville to be one of the host cities at some stage just because of how Nashville does it. A stadium like this would put them in the mix for so much more.
Yeah, and they talk about a 30-mile radius in terms of when they're talking about hotel rooms, and that brings in Williamson County too. And with all the growth there in Spring Hill, all the hotels that have popped up there as well, there's certainly enough hotel rooms to host a Super Bowl. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think everything is in place but the stadium. Everything is there except for the stadium. So we'll see what happens ultimately and where this thing ends up going. And there's been those conversations. I don't know what they would do as far as Bridgestone, but I know there's been conversation about Bridgestone. I mean, and Bridgestone was built not on the cheap, but it wasn't absolutely state-of-the-art. It hosts so much stuff down there as well, and you wonder, too, whether or not that ends up getting done at some particular point in time.
Well, here's the thing. They redid an agreement. I'm trying to pull that up, but they redid an agreement within the last, here we go, June 2019. They approved a new lease deal where the Predators signed a lease to stay inside Bridgestone Arena for 30 years. And the one thing the president of the Predators, Sean Henry, said is like, you keep improving and taking care of the building and extending the life of the building. So, I know there had been lots of chatter, they're going to have to replace Bridgestone Arena. Well, right now the commitment for the next 30 years is to stay in that building and just keep taking good care of it.
Yeah, they'd have to take awfully good care of it. And, of course, famously, no press box to speak of because they built it with the thought, when they built it, I mean, stop me if I'm lying, there was a thought that they might end up with the Grizzlies as opposed to Memphis. And, they didn't really build it with a hockey press box in mind. So it's basically something where they just kind of took over the top, 6, 8, 9 rows and converted that into an area where they can broadcast from. But it is not your prototypical state-of-the-art press box that you find in some of these beautiful arenas around the country.
Definitely, the arena and everything was designed thinking that an NBA team would be there, and then it's like, oops, hey, we can get an NHL team in here first,
right?
And put that in there instead. So yeah, it makes for interesting times. But I will say, a year or so ago, they finally put up TV screens in front of the press box area to make it easier to see replays, as opposed to the little teeny TVs we had on each end of the press row. And,
right.
And you'd have to get up and go down to try to see a replay to see, wait, what happened there? So they've done things to make it as good as possible. And, the way the Predators try to feed the media, they try to cover over some of their press box issues.
Yes, absolutely. Teresa Walker has been our guest. T-Dub, I appreciate you so much, and have fun tomorrow night down there at the Stadium Series game.
Sounds good, and will do.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll get a break. We'll come back. Got a little time with the phones being open, maybe. Maybe we can get that in. It's the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Want to try something different for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Then why not head on over to City Cafe Diner? They have the largest menu in the area with traditional breakfast like pancakes and omelets, comfort foods like burgers and shakes, and specialty items like homemade Greek delicacies. And their entire menu is served any time of day. So make plans to dine with City Cafe Diner today, just west of the Parkway at 2003 Drake Avenue. City Cafe Diner, where no one leaves hungry. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Roll Tide! Roll Tide!
The journey for 19 begins this year. This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we'll bring all the action to you right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I love that Football Friday music. This segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. We talked to Doc Greco yesterday. I talked to him afterwards. My wife's been having a problem with her elbow, all this work that we've been doing and everything, and her elbow's been bothering her forever. And so it's like, okay, who do you talk to? Well, you talk to Doc Greco and those guys over there. And just telling him the symptoms. He was able to tell me probably what it was, 90% sure what it is, and she'll go in and see them. And you know what? I've always trusted my family to the docs at TOC anytime you had any kind of an orthopedic need, and you should do the same thing. I mean, they just do a tremendous job. It's the only answer when it comes to orthopedics. They got the greatest docs and trainers available to you anywhere, and they got facilities all over the valley, to check out. So whether you're in Fayetteville or whether you're over towards Athens or whether you're in Huntsville, there's always some place that you can go and see somebody at TOC. Make an appointment when you need them. They've been there for over 20 years for us. Let's go to the lines. Mark is up first. Mark, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Hey, so I got 2 points. I'll get to the NFL one first. We're seeing a lot of really good quarterbacks right now, like young quarterbacks. Do you think, like, maybe we missed some when, like, it was Brady, Manning, Breeze, all them going off? They created, like, this big vacuum that, like, we really didn't pay attention to anybody.
Well, we didn't pay attention to them, but the next wave was definitely there. I mean, certainly, and you might have to put a guy like a Matt Stafford in that little bit of that next wave. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady, they're all kind of out of that one group. And then you have, to me, there's a cut line there, and then you've got Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, those guys. But, whenever we think that they were going to dry up, that quarterbacks are going to dry up, there's a whole nother wave coming. And look at this group we got now. I mean, especially in the AFC. I mean, what a tremendous group of young quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm just thinking we missed some. Like maybe that was a power vacuum or something.
I'm wondering where the next wave is going to come from, because so many of the quarterbacks that are going to come out of college now, I don't know that, Bryce Young wins a Heisman Trophy. Bryce Young's going to be a tremendous college quarterback, go down as one of the greatest college quarterbacks. I don't know that Bryce Young is an NFL quarterback at all, to be honest with you. I just don't know. So, I don't know where the Justin Herberts are, where those big, tall, strong, strapping guys are that are winning these Super Bowls and taking these teams to playoffs. Because, the Josh Allens and those kind of guys, at the end of the day, it seems like you need one like that to really win big.
Yeah, durable, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I'll move to baseball. I feel Grizzlies pain on that. Like, it's upsetting me. The Braves are upsetting me. The Ron Manfred, I'm just going to say it, he's a freaking clown. Like,
you think this is – yeah, but how much of this is on Manfred? How much is this on the players? I mean, have you looked at the player demands? The player demands are a little bit goofy, too.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing, yeah, both of them are to be blamed. I'm talking about, like, Manfred thinking he can move all-star games and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. That stuff is crazy.
Yeah, that dude. Come on now.
Yep. Yeah, and that backfired on them. Thanks for the call, Mark. I appreciate it. There was no doubt about it. And there's really – I can't figure out why they can't go to spring training. Yeah. Why can't they go to spring training? If the goal is to negotiate – why is the deadline Monday? Why isn't the deadline March 31st? Go to spring training. Play spring games. The deadline is March 31st, opening day. That's what the deadline should be. You don't kill opening day a month before opening day. Brent Soboleski is coming up next. Right here on the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Hey men, this is John Deese, pastor Cross Point Church. Whether your own marriage is like 1st and goal from the 1-yard line or 4th and 15 from your own 2, there is something to be learned which will help us grow and our wives to grow closer to God and to each other and to finish the game well. So if you are married or single again, our new marriage series, I Do, Building Our Marriage, is for you. Join us this Sunday at Cross Point Church at 9 o'clock or 10:30, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, or check us out at cpcfamily.org.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. We get our first look at the 76ers' new superstar duo of Joel Embiid and James Harden on the court together tonight. Harden set to make his Sixers debut on the road against the Timberwolves 15 days after his blockbuster trade from the Nets. He has not played since February 2nd due to hamstring tightness. Harden's old team still stuck in neutral. Brooklyn's lost 13 of 15, is 8th in the East. Nets will try to get on track when they visit Giannis and the Bucks tomorrow. 8 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Today marking a 5th straight day of labor talks for Major League Baseball and the Players Association. So far this week, little progress has been made on core economic issues, including revenue sharing, minimum salary, and salary arbitration. MLB has said if the sides don't reach agreement on a new CBA by Monday, it'll start canceling regular season games.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond. Me. Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby.
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show on a Football Friday in the Doghouse. This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. The service department at Woody Anderson Ford is second to none. And you don't have to have a Ford to get service at Woody Anderson Ford. Now, you're going to want to have a Ford when you go down there and you see all those beautiful rigs down there. And let me tell you something else, too. When it comes to the gold-certified pre-owned vehicles, go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and frequently. If you're in the market for a car, go there frequently and keep an eye because they turn over that stuff really, really fast. And they get some beautiful stuff in there. When I went there 3 or 4 months ago and we were looking for a car for my wife, and there was a 2019 low-mileage convertible Mustang. I mean, there it was. And I called down there to Brian Williams. I said, hold that Mustang. And we went down there and bought the car. A couple of months before that, I had bought my 2019 Ford F-150. Low mileage, gold certified. I remember when I brought it home, my wife was like, I thought you were getting a pre-owned car. I said, it is. She goes, no, you bought a brand new truck. I said, I didn't buy a brand new truck. It looks like a brand new truck. It's not a brand new truck. So she opened the door. It smells like a brand new truck. I said, look at the miles. Oh, it's got 30,000 miles on it. I said, see? It's not a brand new truck. But that's what it's like. It's like brand new when you buy gold certified from Woody Anderson Ford. Joining us now on a Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, a guy who does a tremendous job breaking down the draft, analyzing players. He's kind of like what Tom Luganville is to the high school breakdowns. That's what Brent Sobolewski is to breaking down the players in the NFL draft, and he joins us now. Sobo, welcome back, brother. How are you?
How you doing, Tom? We're renewing our friendship. I would say it feels like it's brand new. Even though it's not quite.
No, it's not quite. It does feel like it's brand new. You know what's brand new? What's brand new is my Birmingham Stallions hat that the USFL sent me, which is going to be on my doorstep probably, hopefully, sometime today. That's brand new, possibly. Uniforms. They have done a brilliant job, I think, of giving out information. They kind of ripped the page from the NFL. They're kind of giving it to us in drips and drabs, and then they did this draft, and there were some familiar names, in that draft, and then the XFL right on top of the USFL draft gets that announcement that they've reached an agreement with the NFL for the NFL to experiment with certain rules and things like that. This is kind of exciting times if you're a football fan and you like football year-round.
Definitely, and it's something I know we've discussed at length in previous years when you had the AAF and the previous incarnation of the XFL. We're both supporters. We believe that there should be that middle ground between the NFL and collegiate football because not everyone's prepared to go to the NFL. Not everyone has an opportunity to their fullest to make it at the highest level. So that when you have this potential developmental league, and look, I know Ms. Garcia does not want the XFL referred to as a developmental league, but essentially that's what this is and what it needs to be to find long-term life. And whether it's the USFL or it's the XFL coming in next year, one of these two federations, for lack of a better term, needs to step up, needs to build that relationship with the NFL. We're starting to see it a little bit with the XFL. Maybe we'll see it with the USFL. We don't know yet because there's nothing official on the books. But with their ability to build and develop young talent will be crucial to me to the long-term viability of professional football, considering how many steps back we've taken at both the NFL and collegiate level when it comes to the ability to develop talent because of restrictions at practice, because of restrictions in tackling, and so on and so forth.
Exact conversation I had on the floor of what was Qualcomm Stadium with Jeff Fisher before broadcasting an alliance game between the Birmingham Iron and the San Diego Fleet. And Fish said the exact same thing to me. He said, Tom, he says the NFL can't practice anymore. I mean, they get 14 practices in 17 weeks. They only can pad up 14 times. He said, we need this. And that was the goal of the alliance. We need this to give these guys reps and get them ready, especially quarterbacks. They're rushed in and they're not ready to play. And we need this kind of a vehicle for it. And he said right then there, and he said it's going to take 18 months because we were waiting on the new CBA with football. It's going to take 18 months to get it formalized where this league is going to take developmental players into the NFL. And that idiot Tom Condon, who had bought the league, said, if it's not done by week 8, I'm closing the league down. And it was like, what the hell are you talking about? And that's what happened there. And, of course, the XFL got wiped out by the pandemic. They were doing well. Can these two leagues survive? One of them's going to be February to April. The other one's going to be April to June. Can the two leagues coexist somehow, or does one or the other have to disappear at some point in the next 3 years, say?
The assumption is competition will eventually force one to rise to the occasion and the other to fold. But I will say this. It's about the quality of the product you place on the field. And if any indication what we've seen previously, there can be good football. There's going to be limitations based on what's available to you from a personnel perspective, specifically with the big boys up front, and you have to coach around those limitations. But if you can put a quality product on the field and you can have it out to a broad enough audience, they could have the potentiality of both surviving. If not, the real lifeline here is the NFL. Wherever the league decides to ultimately go, and it's not an official long-term agreement with the XFL, so this is a wide-open conversation. If you can have
it doesn't
that
involve
NFL
players. For our listeners,
exactly.
so that they understand it. It does. All it is they said they're going to supply officials. Which, by the way, the USFL's officials are also coming out of the NFL's development pool of officials. They just didn't make a big thing. They should have made a bigger noise about that. But the deal that the XFL made with the NFL is strictly, hey, we're going to try out this kind of extra point, or we're going to try out this kind of kickoff, those kinds of things, not players at this point. I don't want to confuse our listeners.
Correct, and I think the long-term goal for either league should be to set up a standard similar to what we saw with NFL Europa or NFL Europe along the time, where you get allocations from the NFL, because it would increase roster spots, which would make agents far happier at the NFL level, but also allow teams to take on players they don't think that they can have time or the reps to necessarily develop. To me, that's the next logical step. It takes time to place that infrastructure down to get a league up and running, to make it competitive enough to be worth the NFL's time. But I believe that should be what they're aiming toward, even though they're publicly saying that's not the goal at this juncture. Well, it should be, because that's the way you survive beyond 1, 2, 3 years.
Yeah, and we should also say, for all the naysayers out there that say, oh, these spring leagues, none of them last. You know, they had WFL, the old USFL. Look, I'm old enough. I was there. The old USFL would have been fine if they'd have just stayed in the spring. If they hadn't taken on the NFL, if they just stayed in the spring, that old USFL would have been fine. But what you just mentioned, NFL Europe, which was originally started out as the World League of American Football and then became the NFL Europe, you know, that thing was around for 17 years. You know, people forget that thing was around for 17 seasons. So it's not like you can't sustain a spring league that is associated with the NFL. That can work.
Absolutely, it can. It just really comes down to the NFL's willingness to do so, what they want to invest in that market. But they have to realize, as we stated, this is something I've mentioned numerous times in interviews over the last year and a half or so. The new collective bargaining agreement, from a player's perspective, essentially cut off their nose in spite of their face. I understand what the reasoning was from a health perspective, where they wanted to keep guys healthy. They wanted to make sure that they weren't suffering as many injuries during training camp and practices, and kind of keep physicality down to a minimum. That helps older veterans. What it doesn't help are those guys in the first 2-3 years of their career who need that time, who need to be in football situations to improve. And so we've seen basically a ripple effect already within the last couple of seasons, where you have real issues along the offensive line in particular. Quarterbacks more difficult to develop depending on the way that you're setting up the system around him, and so on and so forth. So the game itself is, to me, particularly early in a season when you don't have those practices and training camp, or not playing them during the preseason, a sloppy brand of football overall. So something like this, to me, is the next step to try to still get all those valuable reps and everything together at the same time, and you don't have to waste them and stay in accordance to the CBA.
Brent Sobolewski with us here from the Bleacher Report. All right, to the NFL draft, because we're into the deep dive now of these players. We got the Combine coming up next week, and good for the players and the agents for shutting down, that goofy, all those restrictions and everything that they were doing. And I guess 150 players said they weren't going to go. But by the way, can you explain for our listeners that it's the Combine, but it's called the NFL Combine. It's not really the NFL's thing, right? This is the Combine is its own deal that is developed for the use of the NFL to evaluate these players, but the Combine is its own entity. Is that true or no?
No, it's actually ran through the Indianapolis Sporting Commission, so that will change as of next year, where we will start seeing the Combine become a moving event, much like the NFL Draft. This is the last year, at least in the immediate future, that it will be in Indianapolis. There were obviously those within the league that weren't happy with that change because of the centralized location and how Indianapolis, the city, is set up to really take on hundreds of not only prospects but NFL personnel all simultaneously, and really do so without skipping a beat. Now we look at the way the NFL's changing in its approach towards marketing. We've already seen the NFL Draft go to primetime Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We've seen the Combine go to primetime. Well, now it's going to become one of those moving events. So the current setup as we know it is actually going to change, and the NFL is looking at other ways to set up this event and make sure it continues to go off as smoothly as possible. I will say this. I was at the Shrine Bowl this year. Now, I was there for that contest. You had the NHL All-Star Game right next door at T-Mobile Arena. You also had the NFL Pro Bowl just less than 6 days later. A venue like Las Vegas, the way they handled all those things without really becoming an issue whatsoever. For example, I'm there for the Shrine Bowl. I had no idea the NHL All-Star Game was there, and those guys were all there simultaneously until I got home. Yeah. So it gives you an idea of what they can potentially do with other venues.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Brent Sobolewski with us here. All right, to some of the players and evaluating, because there are some positions that are really strong in this deal, and there are some positions that are very, that I think are pretty weak in this deal. But Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, you guys at Bleacher Report, if I'm reading this chart right, have a vastly different view of Aiden Hutchinson than pretty much everybody else. It seems like most people think that he is the number one edge guy and Thibodeau is the number two edge guy. You got Thibodeau as the number one guy. Overall, you've got Aiden Hutchinson as the number 12 guy. What is it that you, and I say you, I mean Bleacher Report guys, the team, what is it that you guys like about Thibodeau over Aiden Hutchinson as the best edge guy in this draft?
Well, it's not vastly different. We still have Hutchinson in the top 15. It really comes down to a philosophical argument when it comes to those two particular prospects. And the way we're viewing it is as such. When you're looking at edge prospects, you want those high explosive guys that can turn the edge, consistent pressure, right? Kayvon Thibodeau is a guy physically that fits more in the mold of a Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett. And I'm stating those two purposefully because they were number one overall picks. That's the way we view Thibodeau's long-term potential. Aiden Hutchinson is a damn fine player, and we're not trying to undercut what caliber of performer here he is and what he did this past season. But you also have to take into account translatable traits in the way that you're evaluating him. It's not necessarily just production. It's also how you can win at the next level. Hutchinson's not as flexible as Kayvon Thibodeau, not as explosive off the snap. He's more of a power rusher, a guy that does things differently from the way that you evaluate the position depending on what you prefer. So for us, we went the more traditional route, wanting that long, lean, and flexible and explosive edge rusher in Thibodeau while knocking Hutchinson down just a degree. I mean, obviously he's still a high first-round talent, but we don't see his upside being as immense, even though his floor may be much higher than Thibodeau's.
He's got that J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt kind of motor. You know what I mean? He's got that Big Ten motor, though, man. It just seems like Hutchinson, you always get 115% of whatever he's got.
Well, that's a good point, right? Because that's when you start wondering about maxed capabilities. And I'm not trying to say that he can't reach that level. It's like, because he gives so much effort, do you see him reaching as high of heights with what he can do naturally as compared to Thibodeau, where if he reaches his full upside, is he going to be an even more dominant player? In our opinion, that would be the possibility and why you would invest in him as opposed to Hutchinson.
And we should say, too, that these rankings aren't draft positions, because draft positions are determined by need, and the need for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are on the clock right now, is they got to take care of that quarterback. They made a big investment in that quarterback. They got to take one of these left tackles, which brings me to Evan Neal and Ikem Ekwonu. Is that how you say his name? Ekwonu, I think is how you say his name, the kid out of North Carolina State. Again, razor thin between these two guys. I've seen each of them graded much differently. I mean, Pro Football Focus out of Cincinnati they've got Ekwonu as number 13 overall overall talent, where Evan Neal is number 5. Some have him as high as 2. You guys have him 3, and Ekwonu at number 2. Talk about those two tackles. Both these guys, I think, are going to be stars.
Again, this is a matter of preference in the way you're looking at it. We do have the same exact grade on them. So being 2 and 3 is really inconsequential. It really comes down to what you prefer and how you feel that week, depending on what film you watch, because they're both exceptionally talented young players, and they're both going to be, or at least project as dominant tackle prospects. And Ekwonu, even if you want to move him inside, depending on situation, let's use the Giants as an example, selecting 2 picks in the top 7, and they end up with an Ekwonu, but you already have Andrew Thomas, a left tackle. Maybe you slide him inside, and he's that dominant run force. And that's really the difference, right? With Ekwonu, he had as good as tape as anyone in college football this past year. He was a highlight reel-worthy offensive lineman, meaning even those who don't watch offensive line play can find those blocks that make you go, ooh, the way he was blowing them off the ball. But from a technique perspective, as a pass protector, he's a little more raw than Evan Neal. Evan Neal is your more traditional left tackle, hence why we have him going number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're talking 6'7", 350 pounds, an athlete that you just simply belies that size. He's that exceptional young man, and he's still growing into a position as well, but he's a more polished pass protector at this point. So what are you willing to pay for in the top 5? Do you want that pass protector that can step in day one, or do you want the dominant run blocker? In the NFL, obviously teams are going to lean towards the pass protector, though Ekwonu's upside and potential in play is, to me, on par with Neal, but that's why he would get, the Alabama prospects would get the edge.
Brent Sobolewski with us here from the Bleacher Report. Then we get to the wide receivers. This is a loaded class of wide receivers, and it's fascinating because, down in Alabama, we got to see Jameson Williams all season long, and he was an absolute superstar, and then I kind of blurted out, I don't know if he'd have gotten on the field with Chris Olave and with Garrett Wilson. I mean, where would he have fit in if he was with those guys? Now, according to your rankings in the receivers, the Bleacher Report rankings in the receivers, and again, these are all over the board for everybody else as well. You guys out of that threesome would have it Olave, then Williams, and then Garrett Wilson. Many others have Garrett Wilson as the top receiver in this whole deal. Explain how you separate Wilson, Olave, and Williams for fans of a team that could really use a down-the-field wide receiver to help their little quarterback bounce back and have a big year next year, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't know who you're referring to, sir. To be clear, our number 1 wide receiver is Drake London from USC, which we have an elite grade on. That's not the case with everybody, but we're talking about a 20-year-old wide receiver, 6'5", 210 pounds. That's much more fluid and has much quicker feet than a wide receiver his size. So the potential there is immense. But to your point, once you get outside that top 10 range and you start looking at other options, Williams, it really comes down to medicals, right? I mean, we could have had the conversation. He was wide receiver 1 in this class, except for the knee issue, suffering the ACL tear in the national championship game. So that kind of takes him out of the running for me until you know essentially where he stands, because quite frankly, he may not need a redshirt year, but he's definitely not going to be 100% by the start of the NFL season. So if you're a team that needs instant impact and you have this wide receiver class, which is, once again, loaded, then you would look at other guys along the way. And when you look at Ohio State's duo with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, I liken this very much similarly to Alabama a year ago, right? Garrett Wilson is your Jalen Waddle. He's the explosive kid, maybe a little rougher around the edges, but the second he stepped on campus, he was a playmaker. Olave's more Devontae Smith, where he is that smooth operator. He is the best route runner in the class. You know that he's ready to play at the professional level to be a reliable target for a team because he's so polished overall. So looking at it, and really, to me, the wild card in this could be Treylon Burks from Arkansas, 6'2", 6'3", 230-pound-ish wide receiver, very much similarly built like Alshon Jeffrey, and his physicality as a blocker, playing in the slot, being used in a multitude of different ways, but also one of the highest graded players in this class, beating man coverage consistently and being a vertical threat. So if you are sitting in that 10 to 20 range and you need a wide receiver, this is a great class because you could have up to 6, 7 guys go in the first round total from that position, and it's really should pay off for teams that need that explosive component to their offense.
No doubt about it. And then the flip side of that is the quarterbacks. Somebody's going to reach. They always do. We've seen the numbers, less than 50% hit in the first round when you look at it. That number, the quarterbacks, the 14 quarterbacks picked in the top 5 picks between 2009 and 2018, from Matt Stafford to Baker Mayfield. Mayfield's the only one that's still with his team, and Stafford's the only one to win a championship, and he just did that if you don't count Carson Wentz, who was in a cast at the time Nick Foles won that Super Bowl for the Eagles. That's stunning. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And I'm not sure that any of these guys, and I'm a Matt Corral fan, by the way, out of all of these quarterbacks, but I'm not sure that any of these guys are first-round quarterbacks, and you know that 2 or 3 of them are going to end up in the first round, whether they deserve it or not.
It's so frustrating. It's like we're trying to magically make one of these quarterbacks better than they are as a prospect. And I'll give you an odd comparison. You know I'm not a huge comp guy, Tom, but this one sticks with me. When I watch Matt Corral, I think of Jimmy Garoppolo, a more athletic version.
Really? Okay.
Quick release, natural arm talent, and comes out a simplified system that allowed him to put up gigantic numbers, right? Now you add a little bit of athleticism that makes him more valuable, but I view Corral as a second-round talent, so to me that kind of has that correlation. But overall, for us, we have Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder as QB1. Now, he's barely within our top 20, so you have to keep that into the framework of the way we're looking at this class. The reason why we have Ridder is because of what he was asked to do within Cincinnati's system, where he has made multiple NFL-caliber throws more consistently than most of the other players in this class. Furthermore, he's also younger than Kenny Pickett, who'll be 24 before he ever plays an official NFL down. He's more athletic than say, Carson Strong from Nevada. So he has that combination of being a legitimate pocket passer, which we saw at the Senior Bowl with a couple of excellent throws during the game, and being a very good athlete as well. So he's the one that has the slight edge for us, but we fully acknowledge within our scouting department, and we actually had our mailbag came out today for going into the Combine, that the player most likely to benefit from this entire process is Malik Willis, because he's just so naturally gifted. And the way we look at it is he is very far behind when it comes to his ability to win from the pocket consistently, and all you have to do is turn on that Ole Miss game to find some cringeworthy throws, but at the same time, his natural athleticism and that arm talent isn't comparable to anyone else in this class. So you have to go into this with your eyes wide open, knowing that his upside is absolutely staggering, but he's got the furthest way to go to be an actual NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and I am not seeing hardly anybody putting Desmond Ridder in the first round. I mean, most of these guys have either Pickett or even Sam Howell or possibly Matt Corral being the first quarterback to come off the board. And generally it seems to get a little goofy starting around 9 maybe. Maybe 11, with Washington, and there'll be a reach there, I'm sure, with Washington. We'll see where they go. I thought you were going to say on Matt Corral, in terms of overall makeup, I thought you were going to say Baker Mayfield. He's like a little bit bigger Baker Mayfield, really.
No, that's Sam Howell. That's Sam Howell. Just the way he's built, they're almost like mirror images of one each other. Just the way they built and sometimes the style of play. The thing with Corral is it's not necessarily a huge knock against him of the system because he's still executing what you want to do within said scheme, but he's also very slight framed. And how he's going to hold up in the NFL when he starts extending those plays and gets hit. I mean, he was dinged this year multiple times at Ole Miss. So as a 6'1", 200-ish quarterback, how is he going to fare in the NFL? And that's a legitimate question because he didn't make it unscathed through his time at Ole Miss.
Yeah, and that's my question. And it'll be a conversation that we'll be having next year. But that's my concern about Bryce Young. Even though Bryce Young made it through the season without being unscathed or without being hurt, I just don't see him as an NFL quarterback. This is a guy that could win 2 Heisman trophies. He's not a NFL quarterback. I just don't see it. And when you look at what was left in the playoffs this year, when you look at it, you want a Josh Allen, you want a Patrick Mahomes, you want he wasn't left, but he's going to be a Justin Herbert, a Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow. Every one of these guys is 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, a little bit of mobility, but they can rip you apart from the pocket. And I'm sorry, that's just the prototype is still the prototype. At the end of the day,
I would argue this. They took time to reach that point, right? Patrick Mahomes, a year on the bench. Josh Allen needed 4 years in the same system with the same coaching staff essentially 3 years to become the MVP. And that's why Malik Willis is so enticing to people. Not because they can't see the issues potentially there, because that upside is immense. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he is the same caliber of prospect as Mahomes or Allen coming into the league. He's not. But when you have the natural tools that can offset some of those growing pains that will occur early in his career to help you still win games while he develops on the fly.
Man, I'll tell you what, Brent Sobolewski's so good, and we'll have to kind of track him down. We got to get you a couple of times a month here leading into the draft because I'm a draft Nick. I know you are as well, and it's good to. And this is a living, fluid thing, and obviously after next week and the combine, it'll all look different as we'll see guys that come out of nowhere, and that's a whole nother conversation that we can have. Sobo, I appreciate you, man.
Well, let's make it a date, Tom. Not next week because I will be in Indianapolis. It's the week after. We'll speak again. How's that?
That's perfect. The week after the combine. That'll be perfect. All right, man.
You just have to remind me.
Yeah, no, I will. Believe me, I will. All right, man.
All right, have a good one.
All right, thanks, you too. Brent Sobolewski. All right, let's get a break. We're going to open lines the rest of the way. I got stuff. I'm just going to go through stuff on my desk. I just want to clear these tabs that I got open as well, and I got stuff I go through on my desk. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
In the ring, Josh Taylor, the undisputed junior welterweight champion, defends his belt Saturday against Jack Catterall. The odds heavily favoring Taylor at -1775, Catterall +850. The NASCAR Cup Series continues Sunday with the Wise Power 400. Kyle Larson, the current favorite, at +400, followed by Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch at +800, Denny Hamlin +850, and Martin Truex at +1,000. UFC Fight Night Saturday in Las Vegas. The main event, the catchweight bout between Islam Makhachev -900 and Bobby Green at +550. Next Saturday at UFC 272, Colby Covington, a -350 favorite against Jorge Masvidal at +265.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today.
Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
That new doctor is drop dead gorgeous.
Please, he's just another RV League educated surgeon with good hair.
No, he's different.
Nurses, we got a Class C motorhome with a detached driver's side mirror. Meet me in the OR. Stat.
Right away, doctor.
No, she's on break. I'll handle this one.
Oh, you conniving little...
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Memorial Parkway. Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental is independently owned and operated by local folks right here in the Valley? They are celebrating 10 years into business this year and have grown to be North Alabama's largest supplier of rental skid steers and mini excavators. Now, if you have a question about what tool to use, just call them at 964-6081, and the pros at Valley Equipment will get you into the tool that you need for your specific project. Valley Equipment, more care in every rental.
For 50 years, our mission, do the right thing and make long-term decisions. We value our customers and we invest in supporting you. We use our own technologies to automate, to provide you the best support possible. And we have the strongest guarantees in the industry. I just can't tell you I'm going to provide you great support. I have to prove it to you with my actions.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Get your Ford your way today. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got F-150s in stock right now. We have F-150s on the ground so you can climb behind the wheel and take a test drive today. Plus at Woody Anderson Ford, our 2021 F-150s come with $1,000 in bonus cash, along with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months with your good credit. This offer ends February 28th. To be clear, these F-150s are in stock today, ready for your garage tonight. Now let's talk about making a custom factory order. Not only is there no extra cost to custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on 2022 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, and Mustang. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you'll see how easy it is. And speaking of easy, our service department is now offering free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Ask about it at Woody Anderson Ford, the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Look forward to seeing you.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Morning rain showers will give way to just a little bit of sunshine through the course of the afternoon. Temperatures are going to be a little cooler. Highs only hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the low and mid 30s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy to overcast sky for the first half of your weekend. Scattered showers across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. Only dropping into the upper 30s and lower 40s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy sky for your Sunday. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 50s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I wanna thank you. Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At North Alabama Mortgage, they got the perfect product to get you into your refinance or your new mortgage. They do conventional VA, FHA, and USDA loans, purchases and refinances. Cash out refinances are available, whatever you have to be done, a home renovation or a college expense or a wedding or whatever it is that you might have coming up. You can get that money out of your home, and North Alabama Mortgage can help you with that. Almost 100% of the business comes from referrals. Consider this a referral from me to you to use Brian Hamaker and his crew at North Alabama Mortgage. In Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, it's North Alabama Mortgage, and they are VA specialists, and they work very hard for our veterans as well. Phone lines are open if you want in. It's a good time to do it. 256-5764-97.7. About 15 minutes left to go here in our Football Friday show. 20 minutes or so left to get you in. So if you want to jump in, you can do it right now. We go to the lines with Wolverine Dan. Wolverine Dan, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, brother, just get me in the trifecta, and I'll tell you how we're doing.
No trifecta. Here. We got no trifecta today. We got no. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we,
all right. Well,
we just save it for big stuff. Our next one will be during March Madness. Yeah, we'll have one during the Madness. We'll have one for the Masters. Things like that. But we save it for big events at this time of year, as opposed to
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Listen, I'm on Constantine Street, man, and down here at Bourbon, around. No, it's not too far from Bourbon.
Yeah.
And we were at the parades last night, dude. Man, these start these parades at 5:30, and the parade didn't end till 11:30. Tom, 30, I think almost 40 floats, 40 freaking floats.
So what? It's Mardi Gras down there right now?
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Oh, I didn't know. Is that why you went down for the Mardi Gras?
Yeah, man, they threw all kinds of stuff out there and everything. I got me a bunch of stuff.
When is Fat Tuesday? What is Fat Tuesday? What day is that, Norman?
That's coming up. Next week, next Tuesday. Yeah.
Next Tuesday is the Fat Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. Get some punchkis, man.
Do they have like parades every day, or is there like one day that's the Mardi Gras and that's when they have the parade?
Every freaking day. It's crazy.
Really?
These guys for a whole month, Tom. For a whole month they do this. I don't think there's a sober person in the city. They drink like.
Are you getting beads and stuff like that? Are they throwing you beads?
Get all that. Yeah, get all that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy, Tom. I mean, it's nuts.
I heard the original Mardi Gras though is in Mobile, and it's actually a more family friendly one. I mean, that Mardi Gras there. I mean, you got girls flashing you and things like that, don't you? I mean, is that what happened?
No, they don't do that. They don't do that. But I'll tell you this, Tom, that the police force here, man. A lot of guys jumped ship and they got out of the police profession. So they're short on cops. So the one place they used to have it at, it was a longer street and everything. A lot more people showed up, but they went closer into the downtown area here, where it's all family oriented with a lot of families that live here.
Right.
And it was a lot more safer, and the cops could control it. You have to have 2 cops in every intersection.
Yeah. Huh.
But it's down here too, dude. Cops are jumping ship saying, I'm not doing this crap no more. And the crime went up, dog. It went up.
It has everywhere in the country. The crime has gone up. I have never had an interest in going to New Orleans. I'll be honest with you. I'm not like, it's not like something like it's not on my bucket list to go to New Orleans. I'd rather go out west, to be honest with you, than go to New Orleans.
No.
Just saying.
I'm in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Okay. All All right, I'm in the middle of the street. I guess I need to hang up.
Okay. You can't talk in the middle of the street. Appreciate you.
I know. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. See you. Bye.
It's never been something that's been on my bucket list. You know? It's never been a big deal for me. All right. Phone lines are open if you want in 576-4977. 256-576-4977. We'll get you into the show. Grizz.
Yeah, what's up?
I want to get something off my desk here, at least one of these things
All
off my
right.
desk here. We talked last week, or we talked earlier this week. Oh, gosh, do I still have it here? Yeah, I got it here. All right, we talked earlier this week with Josh Carey, and we were talking about one of the issues that is coming down the pike is we are going to get automated balls and strikes, the ABS system. We're going to have it.
Ugh.
And so you're
I'm on the fence.
Yeah. And so remember what Josh said.
Yeah.
He made that comment about them being right probably 97% of the time. Remember that number?
Right.
He said, they're probably right 97% of the time. And I'm like, well, yeah, but 3% of the time wrong is 10 or 12 pitches.
Yeah.
In a game that's got 250 pitches. And those could be critical pitches. Well, there's actually data on this. I went back and I looked at the data.
Yeah.
On this because that QuesTech system that they have a system in place that does this, and this is how the umpires are graded on this deal. From 2014 to 2020. Okay, from 2014 to 2020.
Yeah.
The worst, we don't even know who these guys are, most of them, but Deflin Colon, Damian Beal, Wally Bell, Chuck Merriweather. Okay, these were the worst. Tim Welke, Brian Runge. All right, these were the worst umpires, and how many times they were wrong on whether or not it was a ball or a strike. 16.5% of the time. 16.5% of the time. The best umpires in the entire major leagues during that time.
Yeah.
Randy Marsh, Jerry Lane, Alfonso Marquez. Wrong 15% of the time. So from the worst to the best, from the best to the worst, the best of the best get it right 85% of the time, and the worst get it right 84% of the time, 83% of the time. Now, Grizz, let me took that into numbers.
Yeah.
250 pitches in a game, 250, 260 pitches in a game or so, maybe even more. I don't know how many pitches are in a game. There might be, don't you think there's probably about 150 pitches on both sides? Right? The starter goes, 90 or 100, and then you got two or three relievers.
Well, I don't know. You've seen some of these. I don't know. You've seen some of these starting pitchers go about 70, and then
70, but then they got 70 more.
Yeah,
with the three
yeah.
other guys.
I'd say about 135, 145, something around that range.
135, 145, somewhere in there. So
every time,
all right, so if we use 145, that's 290 pitches in a game. 290 pitches times the best umpire. The best umpire misses 15% of the time. 0.15 equals, that's 43 pitches in a game where the umpire missed the ball or strike. 43
and you don't notice it. You don't really notice it. You only notice
notice it.
Well, you notice the really bad ones, I should say. You notice the really bad, really off ones. But you don't notice how many are actually wrong. You always remember the really, really bad ones.
I think it happens twice per at bat for Aaron Judge because he's so tall. You know what I mean? But in any event,
get 2 boxes.
Look, 43 pitches outside the strike zone called a strike.
Wow.
Or that includes strikes that were called balls. I mean, how frustrating? What is more frustrating to you when your guy catches a chunk of the plate and they're like, ball one? And I'm like, what? What? That thing was caught the entire plate. Are you kidding me?
It's crazy how if it touches that close to the strike zone, how much they call a strike. Like, no matter what, it's a strike. How small the ball might touch the edge of the strike zone, and they'll call it a ball. It's honestly
crazy
ridiculous.
how many times it misses the strike zone altogether, and they call it a strike. and it is
it's like catcher. It's that move.
Yeah, and it is especially on low strikes. Right, the low strike call seems to be the ones that they miss the most. The next is the high strike. This guy, Declan Cologne, on high balls outside of the strike zone, he misses 21% of the time on a ball that's in the upper part of the strike zone.
That's crazy.
399 times.
You can clearly tell the guy's moving for the ball. Like it shouldn't be hard to be like, yeah, that's a ball. It's not like it rose and that, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to tell. It may go exactly to where that catcher catches it, and it's clearly a ball, and he's
This is just too much. I'm sorry. 40 to 50 pitches a game.
Yeah.
Called wrong are too much. Give me the quiz tech. Give me the thing in his ear that says ball or strike, or at least suggests ball or strike. Maybe the umpire has the veto right.
Yeah.
But if that thing goes off and says strike, and the umpire was like going to call it a ball, and then because he's on the inside part of the plate, and it caught the plate on the outside part, and the thing maybe he overrides it when he's like, oh, there's no way. Okay, give him the authority, but put that thing in his ear that says ball or strike. I think you got to do it. Let's get a break. We'll come back. Final segment is next, right here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Morning rain showers will give way to just a little bit of sunshine through the course of the afternoon. Temperatures are going to be a little cooler. Highs only hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the low and mid 30s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy to overcast sky for the first half of your weekend. Scattered showers across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. Only dropping into the upper 30s and lower 40s as we head into the overnight. Mostly cloudy sky for your Sunday. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 50s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Thom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
The game's on. Oh, I almost forgot. I'll be right there.
We like sports and we don't care who knows. From shooting hoops to the Super Bowl. We like sports and we don't care who knows.
Football, tennis, hockey, golf.
The game is starting. Everyone is here. I got my snacks, my friends, and a beer.
So I'm going to watch it on TV.
Are you ready for football? A Monday night party!
So I'm going to watch it on TV. So I'm going to watch it on TV.
What to watch on TV tonight, brought to you by Dave Bond and his entire team down there at Audio Insight. They are ready to do anything that you need when it comes to audio-visual for your home or your business. And talking about that conference room where you want to have that big flat-screen TV or a projection screen TV or excellent sound with soundbar or surround sound. All of those things are done by these guys, Dave Bond and Audio Insight. All right. We have a couple of TVs in our studios that they installed for us and a location that we told them where we wanted them. We said we want them right there underneath the window. You know what I mean? Between the studio and Grizz's control room. We wanted them right there underneath the window. That's a bad job by us. Okay. Now we want them over here on the side up higher. We call Dave Bond, Audio Insight. They'll come in there, boom, do what they got to do. It'll look beautiful, all right? They can do the same thing for you. And if you're building a home, you got a new home that's being built, Audio Insight. I mean, you want it wired for sound. You want it wired properly for TV because you're going to want to put a TV over that fireplace or whatever. Audio Insight. They do it all. Go to audio-insight.com. That's audio-insight.com or visit their showroom at 1229 Putman Drive right off of to Jordan Lane. Grizz, NBA night tonight on ESPN. Doubleheader. It's kind of a salty doubleheader. You got the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks, which used to be a decent rivalry back in the day, but Knicks circling the drain, Heat playing well. And then that is the nightcap is the Clippers and the Lakers. So anytime the Clips and the Lakers get together, that's a good thing too. And whether or not the Lakers are ever going to start playing decent basketball, they'll get into that little play-in tournament maybe. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of what they're looking at is getting into that deal. But
it's kind of what they're hoping for. But I mean, this Lakers, it just stinks because it's like the Clippers team that has no Kawhi Leonard, hasn't had him all year, just kind of playing with whoever they got. And then the Lakers, it's just like we knew coming into the season that this team was going to break down eventually because when you got a bunch of old guys on that roster, it's really hard for LeBron James to kind of just take over and lead that team when he really doesn't have a supporting cast. And Anthony Davis being hurt, I mean, Westbrook's been a dud. I mean, and I kind of expected that. So
tomorrow night on TNT, Stadium Series. Check that out as well. Tampa Bay and Nashville playing in Nissan Stadium. You're going to want to watch that. I'll be watching the races over the weekend as well. I'll watch the Xfinity race on Saturday, watch the Cup race on Sunday afternoon as well. I'll be taking in some of that. That's what's on my list. Coming up next, it is Chuck Oliver, Paul Feinbaum, and then Alabama and number 1 Texas. You'll hear that right here in baseball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.